We've done a lot of these videos in terms of power ranking quarterback rooms across the conferences, and y'all have responded phenomenally. So, being the people's show, y'all tell us we want more of this, so we do more of it. Let's move into the Big 12. I need to reiterate this. I say this at the beginning of every segment we do with this kind of video. 1, these are subject to change. You could come back to this very same channel, this very same show after spring ball, could have a totally different top 5. 2, with what we have here, it's not just the starters. It's not just your starting quarterback. So don't get in the comments and say, well, this starting quarterback is better than that starting quarterback. I hear you. That might be true. But what about your backup? What happens if plan A goes down? All right, so without further ado, let's jump into it. The top quarterback rooms in the Big 12 Conference. At number 5, we got a newcomer, y'all. Cincinnati has joined the Big 12, and I believe they have one of the top 5 quarterback rooms in this conference. Who do they have in there, you ask? Well, they have Ben Bryant, who's back for his 73rd college football season through 35 touchdowns and 14 picks in the last 2 seasons. So you got some experience there. You know who else is actually in that room? This might come as a shock to you. Remember Emory Jones, who was at Florida for a period of time? Then he was at Arizona State for a period of time. Didn't really end up working out there. He's now at Cincinnati. I fully expect a quarterback derby to go down at Cincinnati this spring ball into fall camp. Here's what I would say. Emory Jones left a lot to be desired production-wise. I don't think we're saying anything crazy here. 26 touchdowns and 17 picks in the last 2 seasons. That's not great. But let's not forget, Emory Jones started for a period of time, at least out of camp, over Anthony Richardson. Yes, the same Anthony Richardson that scouts are currently salivating over, and you have some people out of left field talking about him being the top pick in the entire draft. Now, we don't buy that here, but the point remains the same. Anthony Richardson, a good quarterback. Emory Jones, at a period of his college career, was perceived to be the better quarterback. Now, it hasn't played out on the field how you would like it to, but at the very worst for Cincinnati, I think they're capable. At best, maybe one of these guys flourishes in the new staff and they find a way to play their best football this coming season, even though we've seen a fair amount of what they can do already. At the very worst, they're capable. Are they the best quarterback room in the Big 12? For my money, no. That's why I have them at number 5. But top 5, nothing to sneeze at as they are transitioning to the Big 12 Conference. At number 4, man, this is a fun one. This might come as a shock to you. Number 4, we got the Kansas Jayhawks. Here's what I would say about Kansas. Don't let branding fool you. I know it's March. I know Kansas is a basketball school. I feel that. I think that's still true. But you look at what they have in that quarterback room. They got Jalen Daniels and Jason Bean. Let's start with Daniels. Y'all, for the first month and a half of the season, we cannot overlook that this man single-handedly was, one, a Heisman Trophy candidate. Started out as kind of a joke. Everyone's talking about Kansas being America's team, and they very much were. He was the quarterback for America's team. And the other piece, he got College game day to come to Lawrence, Kansas. Y'all, we cannot overstate the impressive nature of that. He's back for another season. You hope he stays healthy this time around. And when he went down, Jason Bean came in the game and won some ball games for you. Was he elite? Want to go that far. 14 touchdowns, though, to 4 picks. I feel good about Jason Bean going in the game if something were to happen to Jalen Daniels if he can't go for you. So do you have 2 all-world options? No, but you have 2 pretty decent options, in my opinion. 2 guys that you feel good about starting a game for you. Now, Jalen Daniels has set the bar pretty high for an encore of what he's going to do in 2023. But I'm just saying, don't sleep on Kansas now. You look across the conference, I don't know if there is a 2 deep that is substantially better than what they have there. Now, obviously, the rest of this list, I believe, is better than what they have there. But let's not let the branding of what Kansas is historically cloud the judgment of what they have in that quarterback room, because I believe it's pretty solid. So Kansas coming in at number 4. At number 3, got the Kansas State Wildcats. I want to talk about them, but really quickly, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and on Twitter, at Jody Pickell. We appreciate y'all for that. All right, at number 3, we got Kansas State. Like I was saying, Kansas State, to me, just has the hardware, a Big 12 title, that is, to validate their starting quarterback in Will Howard. And you got the stars, from a recruiting standpoint, to get you juiced about the future. and Avery Johnson. And no, I'm not talking about former Dallas Mavericks head coach Avery Johnson. I'm talking about 4-star quarterback Avery Johnson. In-state product Avery Johnson. Said he wants to stay home. Jake Rubley is also in the room. But let's go back to Will Howard for a second. He came in, started 5 games for you, more or less. 15 touchdowns, 2 picks in that stretch. And oh, by the way, has a Big 12 title to show for it. I'm optimistic about what he could be if he gets a full offseason as the starter. Because remember, he wasn't even the guy last year. Going into game 1, it was Adrian Martinez's show. And we were all talking about Adrian Martinez maybe being a Heisman Trophy guy. Will Howard, I think, brings something to the table there vertically that they haven't really seen as frequently in the Little Apple. I'm excited about Will Howard and what he's going to bring to the table. Now, behind him, like I said, Jake Rubley is there, but I get excited about Avery Johnson. 4-star kind of kid. To put it simply, again, as has been a theme with this segment, we're trusting Charles Power. Director of Scouting and Rankings for On3, we're trusting him, we're trusting his assessment, and he's high on Avery Johnson. If Charles Power is buying Avery Johnson, we're buying Avery Johnson too. So Kansas State, for us, the 3rd best quarterback room in the Big 12. Now, here's where we're going to hurt some feelings. Here's where it gets a little bit tense. The number 2 quarterback room for me is the University of Texas. You got Quinn Ewers, you got Arch Manning, you got Malik Murphy. Here's what I would say for Texas. We have a lot of the good folks in Austin right now that I am sure just said, what are you, get this guy out of here. Like just absolutely getting emotional about them being at number 2 as opposed to being at number 1. You disagree with my ranking? Fair. You also wouldn't trade who you have in-house for what Oklahoma has in-house. We'll get to Oklahoma in a second. Quinn Ewers flashed multiple times. Chopped the mullet. He's all business now, right? I just need to see it consistently. I said it before earlier in this live show. I'm excited about Quinn Ewers. I think you could make a case for Quinn Ewers being the most talented quarterback in this entire conference. Again, that's talent. That's not proven. Was somewhere in the range of 15 touchdowns to 6 picks this year. You saw the really good against Alabama. You saw the really good against Oklahoma. You also saw him throw 30 incompletions against Oklahoma State. Now, it was his first year in the saddle. I believe Quinn Ewers' football is still ahead of him. But from what he hasn't proven is why I don't have them higher on this list. But if we're ranking it off talent, very strong case for Texas to be number 1. Because behind Quinn Ewers, again, one of the most talented, if not the most talented in this conference, you have Arch Manning. Listen, man, your last name's Manning. Some weight to that. There's some excitement around that. He was a 5-star here for us at On3. Translation, he is projected or he is trending towards being what we believe to be a first-round draft pick when his time comes. So the most talented player, most talented quarterback, rather, in the Big 12 in Quinn Ewers, and a projected first-round draft pick according to the stars, if we're correlating that accordingly, in Arch Manning as your backup. Malik Murphy also, we can't overlook him, man. If he gets back on the field, I think him and Arch Manning are going to have an absolute duel for that QB2 spot. That's the quarterback battle to watch in Austin. National media, the clickbait kind of people, they'll tell you Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers is a quarterback battle. I'll just put this out there right now. We don't do clickbait, and if we did, we would push that narrative hard. Okay, but getting back to the thesis here, Texas is at number 2. But the good folks in Austin, they're not trading who they have in this room for anybody. We respect you for that. Now, at number 1, got the Oklahoma Sooners. For me, Dillon Gabriel, being QB1, you just know what you're going to get. You just know what you're going to get with him. He's played a lot of football, accounted for 31 total touchdowns last year, both running and throwing. 6 interceptions. He's solid. They are a drastically better team with him on the field, which isn't saying a ton, but you saw when he went out of the game against TCU, and they were already in a rough spot in that game, but they just looked lost. Dillon Gabriel, I think if he takes even another step under Jeff Lebby, it could be a problem in that conference. They will be a problem in that conference already, but for Dillon Gabriel, I truly believe he's a top 10 quarterback in college football. Mic drop, period, the end, underlined it. Dillon Gabriel, for my money, a top 10 quarterback in college football. Quinn Ewers could get there, but he hasn't done it on tape just yet for me. Now, behind Dillon Gabriel, much like at Texas, you have another 5-star in Jackson Arnold. And Jackson Arnold was the Gatorade National Player of the Year. They're very excited about him in Norman. So to pair a top 10 quarterback in Dillon Gabriel, and again, another guy that we project, according to our star system, to translate to a first-round caliber kind of player in the NFL draft, that's good enough for the top spot in this Big 12 quarterback room power rankings. Texas and Oklahoma, they're fine with who they have. They wouldn't trade either or. For me, I give Oklahoma the edge because I just know more about Dillon Gabriel. I've seen him do it. Quinn Ewers has got a lot of juice. He's got more potential than Dillon Gabriel, but until it translates, what is that potential? Dillon Gabriel, for me right now, I just feel better about as the top quarterback in this conference. So there you have it for us at number 5. The quarterback room that we have there is the newcomer, Cincinnati. At number 4, we got Kansas. Don't let branding confuse you here. Got some good quarterbacks in Lawrence, Kansas. Staying in state. At number 3, go to Manhattan, Kansas. We got Kansas State. At number 2, we got Texas, and they wouldn't trade anybody for who we have at number 1 in the Oklahoma Sooners. So a very deep quarterback room across the conferences, or across deep quarterback rooms across the conference, what I'm trying to tell you. And we're excited to watch them duke it out. Again, that list is subject to change, and it's not predicated on just your starter. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.